The MSI Trident. This is a PC that I basically use daily. And there are a couple of reasons why. Not only the compact design, and this device has a lot of power. So mainly I'm a retro gamer and I love myself some indie games. And sometimes I will pick up a fighting game that is quite demanding. And this gaming G series from MSI has basically everything to offer if you want to use all of these things. Take consideration, there are a lot of different versions out there. We're having i5, i7, different generations, and also we're going to get different graphic cards inside. These things are based on Intel and Nvidia, personally my favorite brands. But it's all fun and game. How powerful is it and what can we play when it comes to indie, normal games, and what can we do when retro emulation? Is this thing powerful enough? That we're going to find out, so let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So here we're also going to get this awesome piece of plastic, so basically you can put this device in vertical position. It's not the best thing for the cooling, I'm always like basically lay it down, but then overall like it's a really cool feature. But before we're going to talk about the specifications, in general I use this thing a lot when it comes to like playing shooters, indie games, trying Killing Floor, GTA 5, it will run just fine because of a combination of the specifications. It's maybe not the newest CPU and GPU, but if you're just a casual gamer, this thing is just fine. So let's take a close look at the specifications. It's time for the wicked nerdy time. So this is the 3 series. There are also like newer versions out there. Like this is the i5 6th generation and it comes with 32GB. Normally it comes with 16GB. The previous owner did upgrade it. We're going to get the 128GB SSD and this thing even comes with an additional 1TB hard drive. And in my case, I'm going to get the GTX 1060. There is also like an 1050 or an 1660. So there are a lot of different variations. That's something you need to take consideration. But also, yeah, different parts comes with a different price. They also sell this thing as VR ready. So that's the reason why there is an HDMI port at the front. But at the front, we're going to get the microphone and the headphone, Type-C connection and 2 USB ports. So it's very convenient if you just want to plug in a controller. At the back, we're going to get a lot of different connections because of the separate video card. At first, we're going to get here the display, an HDMI and DVI. Take consideration depending what kind of video card you're having, but this is what I get. Then we're going to get a couple of USB ports, the Ethernet connection, some extra audio ports, the input for the power supply, and some other ports for the VR and HDMI out. But we're not going to use it because we're going to use the HDMI of the graphic card. So let's do a quick teardown. We need to remove the bottom corner. And then we're going to need to remove the 2 screws. And when you have done that, you can just slide it open like your typical game case. It's very hard to do, but so that's it. All right, and this is what we're going to get in the inside. It comes with a very nice metal plate for EO shielding. So the construction is quite simple. At the left, we're going to get the GPU. At the right, we're going to get the CPU. Here we're going to get the 1060. It's a small factor version and I think you can upgrade it in the future if you're going to get yourself a different GPU. So it's quite interesting. Take consideration, there are some limitations due to the size and the power supply. Okay, so next up here we're going to get the RAM modules. The previous owner did upgrade it with 60GB extra, so that's pretty damn awesome. These came with the Crucial versions. I don't know which version will be in other, but they can like random like put stuff in there. Okay, so the CPU, this version, the i5, doesn't sound like a vacuum cleaner. So the CPU, it's getting quite cool. But when you're having an i7, I'm not a big fan of it because those things like, seriously, like they sound like a vacuum cleaner. And here we're going to get the beefy power supply. And if it's going to get broken, you can always get yourself a spare one. They're not super expensive. So let's boot up the PC in Windows and let's try some games. First up, let's start with Dead Alive. And yeah, they're like the games I play. I tried out some different demanding games and I can say like the 1060 is not like the super beefcake card that you can get now, but it's still like compatible with a lot of games and you can play it on full HD, high resolution. And in my opinion, that's pretty damn awesome. But if you like indie games like me and you're just searching for a system that is compact, that can play every single indie game and maybe some even on 4K, it is not a problem because the 1060 is powerful enough in combination with the i5. I played Hunt Down, I played Cuphead and they were all just fine. Okay, so let's switch over to Batocera. For the people who have no idea like what a Batocera is, like briefly to explain, it's basically an operating system under Linux, so you don't need a Windows mumbo jumbo anymore. So what we need to do is get yourself a new image, get yourself a hard drive. There are different solutions. I will explain what kind of solution we can do. But in overall, I need to make like a full tutorial, explain how to set everything up. But for now, like this is what you need to do. Get yourself an image, get everything set up. And of course, not to forget, get the right image, because you can use Batocera on so many different platforms without looking at old PCs and new PCs. But we're going to need this particular image, the x64, for this MSI Trident. Alright, so let's talk about Batocera, because that's what we're going to use, and the reason why I think Batocera is just a great way to play when it comes to retro gaming, because you don't need the Windows mumbo jumbo. It's just like a plug and play solution that you can make. You can use yourself an SSD, you can use yourself different ways. I think SSD is one of the most expensive but still like a very great way to go, because it's a very stable piece of technology. Of course you can use a platter disk, those things are pretty damn awesome, but they're way cheaper. And yeah, they will consume a little bit more power depending how you want to assemble this. So take consideration sometimes when using an external enclosure, it can give some problems. Then we're going to get ourselves the thumb drive. The thumb drive, I don't like those options most of the time because, like, don't get me wrong, they are like super easy, plug and play, but these tiny ones get quite hot. So I recommend like getting a big one that has some cooling or such kind of. Okay, and then we're going to get the 3.5-inch platter disc, but yeah, that's a different story. And the reason why, because not all of the devices will have the option to use this. So if you want to use this, you need to use an external enclosure, but it's going to get more of a cable nightmare. But also nowadays we're going to get like very cool enclosure for the 2.5-inch, so you can use basically like enclosures and use the thing through the USB. I mostly do this because it's super easy plug and play, but internally we're going to get a little bit more speeds. Then we're going to get these awesome kits that they're selling. So basically what they're selling, like having a hard drive enclosure, and hard drive, and then it comes complete with controllers. Sometimes like with the fake wireless controllers, they are not the best, but yeah, they are pretty damn awesome. So the kits come even with a manual, so explaining you how to add games to the hard drive. So it's an all-in-one fun package. But that's one of the options you can basically go through. And yeah, comes with controllers, so you don't need to search for them. You can also get yourself like an Xbox 360 controller or something else. There are many ways to play with the Batocera image. The enclosures are just okay quality, the plastic cheap ones. So that's basically what they are doing over there. So let's get funky and let's get into Batocera. I really love this Linux based platform. Maybe Windows will have some maybe better emulators, or there will be some pros and cons when it comes to Batocera. But still, I love it. It's plug and play and it's super easy to use on almost every single system. I noticed like when you're looking at the freaking download page, there are so many ways to play Batocera. But in this video I want to take a close look at the x64, or in other words the PC edition. In this case it's more like how more power you have, how more games you can play. But I'm guessing you can play up to PlayStation 2 without a hassle. That's what we're going to try out today. So let's go and let's start with testing some games. But okay guys, let's start off with N64 GoldenEye, a very difficult game to emulate. I noticed when 4-player there are some minor glitches here and there, so it's not still perfect, but that's more like an emulator update that we need to have. But overall the performance, it's quite good, and oh man, they they messed up the controls on this game, by the way. Alright guys, so let's try some MAME, and it will run just fine on this beefcake PC, because we have tried this on $125 mini PCs, like really basic low powered stuff, and MAME runs fine on that. So with an i5 like this, there will be no problem whatsoever. Surprisingly, GameCube runs very well, and I tried a couple of games and I just wanted to show you one of them, and I've tested it and most games run just fine. So that is what I love about this system, is that even like the higher end stuff that will have issues when it comes to some other device I've reviewed here on the channel, GameCube is no problem. And when it comes to Sega Dreamcast, that is a system that runs very well on low-powered mini PCs. So when a PC like this, that we can even like upscale it in higher resolutions. And still going to get the full 60 FPS. Alright, so next up, Sega Saturn, a very demanding system. We need quite a lot of power to run, especially the three-dimensional games, very well. And here you can see like it runs very good. Also, Tekken 2 seems to be working just fine on this, and yeah, it's still running on Batocera, but maybe if you're going to use some different emulators or you run on the Windows, you can even get better performance. But overall, it's pretty damn awesome to see PlayStation 2 is finally working very well. Okay guys, so next up, PlayStation Portable, and I'm not really surprised to see that it works because I have seen like low powered boxes run PSP very good. But now we can even upscale it. God of War will run without any hassle, and that is the thing that we're going to get with more powerful PCs. We can finally like get the full potential of the emulators and the games.
Disruption 1. Mines.
But okay guys, I really love the MSI Trident for what it is, and the i5 is quite silent compared with my i7 model. This thing is capable of playing a lot of three-dimensional Windows games, two-dimensional indie, but also when Batocera we do have a lot of great performance. Yeah, let me know what you think of this device. Would you consider picking this up, or maybe you already own one? So I love the form factor of this thing, but take consideration if you're going to get tiny form factor PCs, they're always going to get very expensive. And yeah, if you're getting yourself an old Dell, slap in a graphic card and it will be cheaper. But thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, and I will see you in the next video.